G'day, mate. If you're like me, living down under, you're always ready to throw another shrimp on the barbie. And fun fact, not many people know this about the Australian Outback, but there are actually more shrimps than there are barbies in the Australian Outback, which shows you how sparsely populated the place is, because if people were there, they would own more barbies than there would be shrimp, but there are actually more shrimp than barbies in the Australian Outback. No, but for real, there is nobody in the Outback. If you're watching this from the Outback, I'd be really impressed. You can see a lot of people on the coast of Australia, but if you go into the middle, there's nobody there. And that's where you find the really good Google Maps reviews. And that's what we're going to read today. The Docker River Store is located in Tjukurla, Northern Territory, Australia. It has rave reviews, one of which from our friend Trip, who says this: "I've never been here before and never will, but I'm drunk looking at Google Earth and this place looks nice. 5 stars. I wonder what the owners of the Docker River Store thought when they saw this review. Like, they were probably very appreciative of the 5-star review, but they probably didn't want it from somebody who had 1, never been to the store, 2, never plans on going to the store, and 3, only rated it 5 stars because he was drunk. Whatever, you take what you can get as a business owner. I'm sure they were appreciative. Next up, the Tjukurla Community Store, which is located in Tjukurla, Australia, has some rave reviews, one of which makes almost no sense, and I plan to read that for you right now. "We've been in the desert for days now. The car broke down. We only had a little bit of water left. Then we found this. Thank God. This was such a lifesaver. The people in the store were very nice and let us stay for a bit. You could buy a lot of food. Also, a lot of other stuff we needed, like clothing." Now, Jake misspelled the word savor as savor, as in like, I'm gonna savor the taste of this thing. Actually, I don't even think that's how you spell that version of savor. So he just misspelled it entirely. But he paints this picture of wandering around in the desert for days with no water. Their clothes are tattered, torn by wild animals. They need more clothing from this store. Not only do they need food, but their clothes are destroyed by the local wildlife of Australia. And somehow, after the car broke down and they wandered for days, reaching the last of their water, they stumbled upon this community store. And what's the most confusing thing about this review is none of what he said. The most confusing thing about this review is the picture that he attached to it. Let me show you this picture. This is a very bald man at a very large outdoor musical event. I'm almost positive this picture has nothing to do with this community store because nobody lives in this town. Like, I don't even think you could look up the population of this town. So the desert delirium has really gotten to Jake. It's really affected his brain power, his mind. And not only does he need new food and new clothing and a new car and water, he also needs some serious therapy because he's losing it. Next up, the Warakurna Community, which is located in Warakurna, Australia. Kino says this about his experience there: 2 stars. "Couldn't find anyone on Tinder. Worst experience ever." That makes sense. I don't think towns like this have Uber. I don't think they have Little Caesars. I don't think they have most modern amenities. It is shocking to me that you were there and you were on Tinder at the same time. I'm shocked that there's even like a satellite connection that you can tap into to access Tinder. Also, Kino, I think you might be placing too much value on Tinder as an app as a whole. I'm worried about what would happen to your mental health if Tinder shut down entirely, because if you think the worst experience ever is not being able to locate somebody on Tinder, that could signify a serious deficit in your mental health, a hole in your heart, if you will, that right now you're temporarily putting a Band-Aid on this wound with Tinder. You need to find a more sustainable solution to your problems than just getting on Tinder. Next up, a 5-star review of the Greyhound bus stop in Curung. Now, I cannot tell you how remote this bus stop is. Okay, I'm gonna try to tell you though. This bus stop is in the middle of literally nowhere. The closest big town is Alice Springs, which is a pretty big town. It's the biggest town, I think, in the Outback. And Alice Springs is a 3.5-hour drive from this bus stop. So this place is in the middle of literally nowhere. Nobody is ever here. Nobody ever goes here. But we have one 5-star review of this bus stop. Scratch that. I actually found 2 5-star reviews of this bus stop in the middle of nowhere. And the first is from Raphael, who says this: 5 stars, my favorite place to end up on a Friday night out. This is like The Hangover Part 4. I mean, how do you end up here on a Friday night out of all places on earth? This is the least likely place you could ever end up on earth. So this is shocking. But if I'm like Raphael, which I actually might be, this might be a great place to end up on a Friday night out. Quiet, nobody bothering me, not a crowded, sticky, loud, gross musical establishment, not a ton of people around, just me talking to the camera about dumb reviews that I found. We have another review of the same bus stop from our friend Aiden. And Aiden says this: great place to avoid getting your skin melted off by the sun. And I'm wondering, Aiden, what makes this place a specifically great place to avoid getting your skin melted off by the sun? It seems like no matter where you are on Earth, no matter where you are, that seems like a great place to avoid getting your skin melted off by the sun. I don't know that there's a bad place to avoid getting your skin melted off by the sun, because getting your skin melted off by the sun sounds unpleasant at best. So I think basically any place that you are is a good place to do it. And so I'm going to have my agent get in contact with Aiden, and we will have Aiden come on the show and tell us what makes this bus stop specifically great as a good place to not get your skin melted off by the sun. Aiden, I look forward to you joining us. Next up, in a town called Hermannsburg in Australia, I found a public toilet. And this public toilet is designated by the fact that it is the yellow building. So if anybody is looking in this area for a public toilet, in the title of the public toilet, just so you know, it's the yellow building, which makes me think that probably somebody went into the red building, thought that it was a public toilet, maybe did their business, and then we're like, okay, no, we need to specify which building in our town is the public toilet, because people keep coming into my house and peeing and pooping all over my house, and I need to designate that the red building is not the public toilet. That's my house. You need to go to the yellow building. There are 3 really good reviews of this same public toilet, which, just so we're clear, is the yellow building. 3 dead bodies with rats inside. Meet a random guy. Nice person. Had lots of keta and meth, but no clothes. Full Aboriginal tribe inside. Busy at 3 a.m. Hope you all the best. 10 out of 10. He attaches a terrifying image to his review of the public toilet, yellow building. This review is astounding. At 3 a.m., he wandered into the public toilet, yellow building, to the right building. It's not the red building. Good for him. Wandered in at 3 a.m. There's an entire Aboriginal tribe gathered in this public toilet. That's a bit concerning. That feels like a very small quarters for an entire tribe. There are 3 dead bodies. We don't know if these are associated with the Aboriginal tribe. We don't know if they are part of the Aboriginal tribe. We just know there are 3 dead bodies. There are also rats inside the public toilet. And then there's a guy who's completely naked who has drugs on him, who evidently is a very nice guy, but he will sell you drugs. He can't, however, sell you clothes because he's not wearing any clothes. About the same public toilet, yellow building, Sam says this: 5 stars. Rat infestation. Saw one as big as my boy Kingston. He's a Great Dane. Feared for my life. But I really loved the adrenaline rush, and I think you have ended my midlife crisis. Much appreciated. Heart, heart, heart. So my beloved viewers, if you or anybody you know is suffering from a midlife crisis, would highly recommend traveling to Hermannsburg, Australia, and visiting the public toilet there, which again is the yellow building in the town, and just meeting this rat that is as big as our boy Kingston, who's a Great Dane. That could cure your midlife crisis just due to the adrenaline rush you're going to experience. This public toilet could be therapeutic for you. Lastly, Charlie says this: 5 stars. My house. So again, there's just a war of like which building is the public toilet. Because if Charlie is living in the public toilet, is it a public toilet? Did we designate the wrong color of building? Is it the yellow building? Or could it actually have been the red building? Could it be the blue building? And how do we know when we walk into an establishment if it's a public toilet or if it's somebody's house? Very hard to tell the difference between those two sometimes. Let me know in the comments below how you think we could distinguish between a bathroom and a house. Next up, we have Oak Valley Aboriginal School, and there are 3 short but good reviews about this Aboriginal school. First of all, Charlie says this, 5 stars, lit. Another Charlie responds to this Charlie with his own 5-star review. He says this cool is awesome. Personally, I haven't been here, but Charlie says it is, so it must be. Love the support that Charlies have for one another. One Charlie says it's lit, the other Charlie responds and says, that Charlie says it's awesome, so it must be. But Charlie, the original Charlie who said the school was lit, is also getting support from people outside of the Charlie community. And so Julius responds and says this, 5 stars. This school is sick. I'm from Germany and have personally never been there, but Charlie says it's lit, so it has to be. Y'all, we need more of this in the world. Call a Charlie that you know, speak to them, tell them that you support them, tell them that anything that they think is lit, you also think is lit. Support the Charlies in your life. That's how we get this country back to growth. That's how we get the company back to growth. That's how we get our minds back to growth. That's how we cure all diseases. We support the Charlies in our lives. Thank you for listening. Finally, we have the Kingoonya Hotel in Kingoonya, Australia, which I have found a very reasonable rate of $56 a night if you can make your way there. Erica says this, 3 stars, bit spooky. Now, you might think she meant the decorations are a little bit old, the place looks a bit run down, it's kind of scary at night. No, that's not what she meant. And we know that because the owner responded, and the owner said this. That would be our local ghost, Vincent. Haha, we might have proof that ghosts are real here. I don't want to say that definitively, but ghosts could be real, and Vincent could be proof. So scientists need to descend on the Kingoonya Hotel and discover if Vincent is real or not. But that is a bit spooky, to be fair. If you're still watching this, I love you more than I love throwing shrimp on the Barbie. And I love throwing shrimp on the Barbie. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next Friday.